Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. It is the 20th. Let's just get all this market stuff out of the way, like, really quickly. Okay, so treasuries are up and the E-mini is down, but only a little bit. And we've got the unemployment numbers coming out. But nobody cares about that right now. What I want to talk about is the debate last night. Oh my gosh. That was the best Democrat debate ever. Can you imagine if they had had this fight 6 months ago, how much trouble they could have saved the Democrat Party if they had just fought it out earlier? It was, and I'm telling you, man, if you did not watch that thing, it was a real brawl. I really wish that I could have streamed it live for you guys, but, you know, with the baby and everything else like that, just wouldn't have worked. Okay, but wow, it was insane. They went after each other. So let me just start out with the obvious one, the one that everybody's talking about. Man. Yes, so Elizabeth Warren savaged, just absolutely destroyed Michael Bloomberg. Okay. It was the most savage takedown of a candidate on the debate stage in debate history. I mean, this is like a top 10 moments in debates ever. Okay. So if you didn't watch, just the general context around it is that Michael Bloomberg, he owns a company and there have been accusations made against him or cases of, you know, like HR type cases that women have signed NDAs with him. And so they basically attacked him on that. And Michael Bloomberg is just not good at debates. Donald Trump was telling everybody this. I think we kind of all maybe just was like, well, okay, we'll see. Maybe he's bad at debates. We'll see. But no, he is bad at debates. Michael Bloomberg was terrible at debates. And I really think that all other things being equal, that he would have lost that debate and he probably would have been a non-factor for the rest of the election. Anyways, but Elizabeth Warren, she saw the opportunity. Hold on a second here. I'm gonna. Just log into Twitter here. Elizabeth Warren, she saw the opportunity and she just went after him. Oh my gosh. Now, I think everybody will see it. Like the misstep that he made that was just, oh my gosh. I was just like, I could not believe what I was hearing him say was just unbelievable. He was like, there's nothing, no accusations are really made in any of it against me, except for that maybe they didn't like a joke that I told or something. And I'm like, are you really saying this? Michael, what the hell? Like, how dumb can you be? Oh my gosh. He literally said that. I mean, really, he's his own worst enemy. But that would have been it. That could have been it. They could have moved on. Michael Bloomberg would have been done. But no. Elizabeth had to come in and you know, twist the knife. And oh, did she twist it. Here's the thing that I don't think that you're going to see. That you're not necessarily going to see in the mainstream media, at least not yet. I think that they will probably catch on to it, but I'm not seeing it in the post-debate analysis yet. But she hates him. And why does she hate him? Because he's successful. That's literally what's going on, and I almost have to wonder at this point, with Bloomberg doing so poorly, does he actually think that he's going to get the nomination? I'm not so sure anymore. I don't think that he ever actually thought that he was going to. I think that he just wants to stop Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. No, later in the debate, probably his best moment was when he said, hey, the most popular socialist in the country is a millionaire with 3 houses. He said that to Bernie's face.
Uzi Knesset
Unbelievable.
Says morning.
Hey, Uzi. I can't believe that he said that to Bernie's face. Like, if you want to win a Democrat debate, that is an attack that you probably don't want to start, because he just got personal and pissed off all of the online activists, essentially. So I kind of have to wonder if he's not really just trying to undermine Sanders, you know?
Uzi Knesset says social justice took a bite out of Bloomberg's ass last night, lol.
Right. But, you know, that maybe that's why he's in there. And Elizabeth Warren, she hates him. And Bernie Sanders hates him. And it's not like I hate Mayor Bloomberg. I hate Mayor Bloomberg because he thinks that the government should decide how big of a soda drink I should be able to buy. I hate Bloomberg because he doesn't think that I should be able to protect myself against deadly force, you know? But they hate him because he's rich. Like, straight up, they just don't like him because he's rich. It was the most personal, vindictive attack I've ever seen on the debate stage. And everybody on Wall Street, they all know who Bloomberg is. They all know the company. They all know how things work in a company. Okay. And they're not surprised that there's going to be at least some sort of an NDA against the CEO. It's not necessarily an unusual thing, okay? It doesn't mean anything bad about Bloomberg. Oh, by the way, here's the news. Unemployment rate, unchanged. Initial jobless claims, 210 versus the expected 210. So all of the numbers are in line. I'm surprised that they're moving that much. Anyways, it's not unusual to see that sort of a thing. And I think that everybody on Wall Street is looking at that and going, oh my gosh, they really do just hate wealth. I really don't think, you know, one of the things was they were talking, like, when Bloomberg attacked Bernie Sanders on this point, Sanders changed the subject and said, well, there's corporate welfare. No, there's not, guys. Okay. The government can invest too. And the government can invest in companies, and it's a good thing that they do that, because the government can make investments that regular people can't. Okay. Now, sometimes that gets abused. Absolutely. And we should do some things to fix that. Okay. But the government can and should invest. And it's not corporate welfare if they invest. And guess what? They're going to tend to invest in companies that can give them a good return. They're not going to invest in bums on the street, because bums on the street aren't going to give them a good return. That's just the way that it is. That's the market. And Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren literally do not understand how wealth is created. They don't. They think that it just comes, that it just like appears out of thin air on a certain, time function or something. Like, no, it doesn't. You have to make good decisions and build your business and increase your efficiency in order to make more. You have to invest. And they don't get that. Not only do they not get that, I think that they hate that, because that system does not make the same decisions that they would. Oh, you know what? Probably the reason we moved down so much. Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, I miss that. 36.7 versus 12.
Invest in Garlicoin. Easy stunks.
Easy stunks. Anyways, it was so personal. And I really don't see how anybody on Wall Street can be watching that and be going, oh, maybe Bernie Sanders won't be. I've seen some articles on CNBC where they're saying, well, some people are warming up to that maybe Warren or Bernie won't be. So no, that just completely slammed that one shut. There is no way that they are going to go along with a Bernie Sanders, because there is no question that he would start wealth destruction in the United States. No question in my mind after that debate. He hates wealth. Elizabeth Warren hates wealth. I don't think Elizabeth Warren is going to be president. It's probably too late for her. But I digress. So, the second one. Pete Buttigieg versus Amy I still can't say her name. But, oh man, Amy really hates Pete. I think that Amy probably yelled at some staffers after that debate. Holy crap. And she tried attacking Pete, and he was just like,
says KLO Bouchard.
Clo Bouchard. Yeah. He was just like, shoo fly. It was like no contest. And he was just like she brought up the whole thing about her not knowing the president of Mexico. She's like, he's saying that I'm too stupid to be president. That is what he's saying, Amy. Good job. Bravo. Way to look strong on the debate stage. I think she was crying at one point. It looked to me like maybe she was crying at some point. And he just explained very calmly, like, look, you are like on these committees, like this is like your thing. Like it's not just like I don't really know who the president of Mexico. I know that it changed recently. I can't remember his name off of the top of my head at the moment. But I don't work on like the congressional committees that are like in charge of these things, you know? It's just insane that she doesn't know that. And Pete just explained that very calmly. Yeah, Lopez Obrador. Oh, who was the guy before that though? Well, I can look it up later. It doesn't matter. Anyways, I just can't believe that she doesn't know that.
Uzi Knesset says Lopez Obrador. Sorry.
Yeah, Lopez Obrador. That makes. Fed's clarity, a decline in tension should be positive for business. Vincent. Yes, Vicente Fox. That's right. I was like, that's names familiar. That's yes. Anyways, she should know this stuff, and Pete was like really calm about it. Just destroyed her. And frankly, I thought the thing that impressed me about Buttigieg.
How the fuck do I know this?
I don't know, Uzi. You just have a better memory than me. I'm really bad at remembering names when
Harlequin
I want
says,
to.
But one thing is, economy isn't only about stocks. Sure, stocks would get fucked, especially private insurance. I mean, I have to pay Tilda 110 euros per month for health insurance, and I don't want to miss it.
I don't think that people understand. Like, healthcare is big business. There's a lot of money in it. Sure. They make money providing. Hey, listen, if you provide a service that is in demand, you should make money on it. It doesn't care if it's people's health. Guess what? What are the best businesses? Health, love, money. Yeah, of course people are going to try and make money on health. Health insurance is something that I think that people should be allowed to make money on. And I think that somebody can make money and still provide a better service than the government. Right now, they're not doing that, but I think it's possible. But if you abolish, Bernie Sanders literally wants to abolish the healthcare industry in the United States, okay? That would cause a recession. Straight up. It would cause a recession. You can't just overnight get rid of all of these companies and not have economic repercussions. Even if in the end it would be cheaper for people on insurance. I'm sure that it would. I don't think that it would be as cheap as if we just fix our healthcare system and still have a free market. But yeah, it would probably be cheaper, but you would have a recession. You can't just abolish a whole industry. I would be out of a job probably because we're what I do is basically a online marketplace for Medicare plans. Maybe it depends on how he does it.
Get shit done. Trump only has to compete with the left obstructing him. Bernie would have to deal with both.
Yeah, I don't think that Bernie Sanders would actually accomplish anything if he was in office. Absolutely true. And Mayor Bloomberg, he kind of brought that up. He was like, hey, guess what? Just because I want to do something doesn't mean this is going to happen. You have to get it through Congress, which is something that none of these candidates, it's like I've had discussions with their constituents that it was like, oh, you mean the president can't just pass stuff? Yeah. They literally didn't know. That was one person. I'm not saying that's like a common thing, but I've had those discussions with like real people, like people I know on Facebook and stuff. Um, I'm saying like people that I've met in real life and that I'm friends with, and not just like some random on Reddit is what I mean. Okay. Um. Anyways, it was almost like the whole thing was orchestrated to make Pete look good. I honestly, because like there's this whole thing about who's going to be in the center lane. I think that people have finally given up on Joe Biden.
Uzi Knesset says anyone who'd vote for the communist utopian dream is someone who doesn't consider Congress to begin with. Lol.
Yeah, you know what?
Harlequin says I mean in Germany
I'll get to that.
Private and normal insurance. Private has its benefit. I haven't read his plan, but it should take some time and surely won't be done in like 1 week.
Yeah, so that's a good point, Harlequin. And I just, if you go back and watch the debates, this is kind of the big sticking point, is that Bernie Sanders wants to abolish the healthcare industry. Amy Klobuchar wants a public option, kind of like what you guys have in Germany. There's private and normal insurance, and you can still get private insurance. Bernie Sanders says that private insurance shouldn't even exist because as long as they exist, they will undermine the whole system. Okay, so they want to get he wants to get rid of private insurance, like straight up. It's not going to work. Well, it's not going to work. There's no way that the American public will go along with that, because everybody will say, yeah, but if I want to buy better care than what the government plan offers, I should be able to do that, right? Not under Bernie Sanders' plan. Okay, so there's a sticking point. Yeah, I just felt like the whole thing was designed to make Buttigieg look good. I don't think that anybody except for Amy really directly went after him. But the thing that was so impressive about him, I really felt like I was looking at next level stuff. And maybe that's just because, he's a young white guy and so that appeals to me or something. I don't know. Or maybe it's because I have money on him. But it was like he would say something or they would attack him. And then he would always come back to an idea. It wasn't just like, oh, here's a policy.
Says Germany's healthcare system would be a lot different with the 240 million extra population boost that we have. Germany's entire economy would be different.
It wasn't just that he would go to a policy or he would have a good counter argument or anything like that. He would bring it back to like bigger ideas that you can base a movement off.
Uzi Knesset says people really do not seem to understand the difference between government healthcare for 80 million people and government healthcare for 330 million.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, we can go into that more.
Harlequin says I agree with that. My dad has private insurance and he has almost no waiting times. Without private insurance, you sometimes have to wait months and some doctors don't even take non-private ones.
That's insane. But see, that's exactly what they don't want. So, I don't know. One of the ones that was interesting, for instance, I think that his best moment for Pete was when Amy said, hey, I was like there. I was in the trenches. And he said, the trenches not just in Washington. Oh my gosh. That was next level shit, guys. That was so strong. Anybody that is in the moderate lane is falling in love with him as he's saying that. All of those guys in the Midwest.
Knesset says private insurance system downfall is affordability. Government healthcare system downfall is rationing.
Yep. It was just stunning. He was so good. The other one, what was the other one that they were attacking him on? Oh yes, he went after Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders says, well, I've denounced those attacks and everything like that. And he has said, yes, but what we inspire in people matters.
Says you can tweak a system for affordability. You cannot magically make more doctors to handle rationing.
It was such an effective argument. I think that the people on the left are going to really, really hate Pete for that comment alone. Because what is really happening here? You have people, they are appealing to people on vindictiveness. These people, they had something and you don't have it. And we don't sit down and say, hey, let's find a way so that you can all be successful. Like, you're not providing a whole lot of value to the economy right now. That's a problem. Let's fix things so that you can provide more value to the economy. But what does Bernie Sanders say? He says, no, these billionaires, they shouldn't exist, and we're going to take their money away and give it to you. And what does that inspire in people? It's not good things. I'm telling you, you look at history, it's not good things. And Pete hit the nail on the head right there. Like, what you inspire in people as a leader does matter. I think, well, they'll say that Donald Trump inspires the worst things in people. I don't necessarily agree with that. Because I've also seen Donald Trump inspire people for great things, but it's something that I always think about is like, I want the people that watch my stream to be successful, and I can't necessarily hand them a strategy that will just automatically work for everybody. That's impossible. But what I can do is I can try and reflect ideas and values that will lead to success, And does Bernie Sanders do that? No, he doesn't. The ideas, I'm certain that the ideas that he espouses lead to failure because they are basically based on envy. And yeah, Bernie Sanders has basically energized the section of the Democrat base that wants a communist revolution. There's no question about it. All of those communists in r/communism.
Harlequin says, is it worth to watch yesterday's debate? Was this fun or rather boring?
I thought it was very fun. I mean, not everybody is me, but I thought that it was just so entertaining. So entertaining.
Uzi Knesset says it's hilarious if you got the time.
And yeah, there are parts of it that are just straight up funny.
Uzi Knesset says absolute trash fire.
Yeah. So I think that what is going to happen, so let's go and check predictive markets. I mean, that's kind of my debate analysis. I think that Joe Biden, he did okay, but probably not enough to stop his decline. Elizabeth Warren did well, but they have already coalesced behind Bernie Sanders. So at this point, she's just running to be vice president. Amy Klobuchar, she's done. That was the end of her campaign. Pete Buttigieg just murdered her. Bloomberg, he's done. It's funny, they're still giving Biden a better chance than Buttigieg. Still. Michael Bloomberg was like 40% the other day. Look at that. So he's down, 2 cents today. But look at the graph here on the 24-hour. Look at that. He went as low as 16. Should be lower, frankly. He should be lower. It's funny that they actually had Biden out above Buttigieg last night.
Says hi all.
I really think I believe at this point that it's between Bernie Sanders and Pete. I think that Pete is the last person remaining in the center lane. But apparently the market still disagrees with me. Let's give it a week and see if they figure it out. There's another debate next Tuesday. So, and by the way, on Bloomberg, one other thing we should say about Bloomberg. He's not going to drop out. Like, there is no chance that he's going to win now. I don't think that he's going to drop out. And I wonder if next Tuesday he's going to come back for revenge on Elizabeth and Bernie. We'll see.
Uzi Knesset says if Bernie gets the nomination, it's going to be what happened in the UK with Labour.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the problem, here's the thing that I don't think that these online activists understand. They don't understand how wealth is generated. Okay? It doesn't just come out of trees. They think that the people that are wealthy because they made some backroom deal.
Uzi Knesset says and Twitter will burst into flames.
It don't work that way. Jeff Bezos is not rich because of some backroom deal. Jeff Bezos is rich because he created the most profitable venture of our time, shopping online. And they did a good job at it. And he did a good business, and he grew that business. And the amount of efficiency and wealth that he generated there, allowing people to sell their own products on Amazon, allowing people to import stuff from Alibaba and then sell it on Amazon. That's a lot of people have become millionaires off of reselling things through Amazon. He has enabled other people to generate wealth, and that is why Jeff Bezos is so rich. It wasn't because of some deal or that he was lucky or something like that. That's how wealth is created. The money goes to where it will generate the greatest return. That's why
Masiak says hi.
Hey, that's why why our bonds continue to move up. Because everybody in the UK, or not the UK, Europe, they have negative interest rates. They're fleeing because they want a higher return. That's how investing works. They don't understand this. And everybody that has wealth in the United States understands this concept. That's the difference between people that become successful and work hard and make something of themselves, and these people that live their whole lives and never do anything. It's because it's their ability to understand that one concept, that you have to invest in yourself in order to create more value and build wealth. And so everybody that has wealth is looking at Bernie Sanders and is saying, well, you're never going to get anywhere with that. You're going to make us all poor if you go with Bernie Sanders' ideas. So it would be like that, yeah. They would get decimated like Labour did in the UK. Twitter will burst into flames. Man. So you know what? I'm just looking at now that I've kind of done with my rant there. I know that was like a very ideological rant, but like at this point, it's the only thing that matters in the Democrat race anymore. Is the fight over that one idea. And the Bernie Sanders doesn't get it, and everybody else in the party does. And they know that it's not a winning formula. That's why they're trying so hard to get rid of him. But they have to realize that at this point, Pete Buttigieg is their only hope.
Knesset says online activists live in a completely different universe. Yeah. One where the terms of service and community guidelines favor them. When confronted with reality, they cave in on themselves.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was this thing where they were looking at like journalists in relation to where they were on the left-right spectrum, and the way that they determined where they were on the right-left spectrum was through their interactions on Twitter. That put Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez all the way on the very furthest on the left. It was weird. It's an interesting study. But yeah, they live in a completely different universe. And there was another really good article. Oh man, where was it? Basically, they were pointing out that the way that they handled the Democrat debate structure and everything, because they forced you to get a certain number of donations to stay on the debate stage. It encouraged all of the candidates to have to go to the online activists, and it gave the online activists a lot of power because of that. And that's basically led the DNC to the situation that they're in now. It's because of the online activists. They live in a completely different universe. And I'm telling you what, you cannot run on the platform that the Democrat online activists want. And frankly, on the other side, on the right, I know that people will disagree with me because they think that Donald Trump is so far right, but he really is not in the larger scheme of things. He's quite moderate. If you run on the platform that all of the right-wing activists want you to run, all other things being equal, you will lose. Of course, in fact, I dare say that Donald Trump, he would have lost in any other situation, probably. Right? If he actually had like a worthy opponent, he probably would have lost. So everybody looks at Donald Trump 1 and they seem to think that like they can duplicate that formula. No, that was lightning in a bottle, folks. Not much new stuff on Twitter. I'm interested.
Ace Trade says morning.
There's Ace. Good morning. Just missed the politics.
Uzi Knesset says absolutely, right-wing online activists are garbage. Groypers and race realists. If Trump catered to them the way the left is to theirs, Trump would be squished.
Mm-hmm. I took a bite of oatmeal there because I thought you were going to say more and then you didn't. So I'm just looking at this action since the numbers came out. That Philadelphia Fed
says the left
Manufacturing
likes to
Index
say
was
Trump's
high.
border security rhetoric caters to them, but if you listen to the racists online, they'll tell you themselves Trump's too moderate on the border.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Some of those guys on the right are insane. Oh my gosh, I cannot stand the conspiracy theory nonsense. Did you see the story yesterday about Julian Assange? I was fooled a little bit by it at first, but Hot Air has a great article about it. I'm not a huge fan of Hot Air anymore, but I still read it, and they had a good article about it where they basically pointed out that so the story was that Julian Assange is claiming that the administration offered him a pardon in exchange for proof that the leak was not the DNC leaks was not carried out by Russia. And all of the all of the Redditors thought that this meant that Julian Assange was turning on Trump or something, that he was admitting that it actually was the Russians, and that no, that was not what happened. And when you actually go back and look at it, at the time that this thing happened, there was stories about it that gave the whole story. This senator went on his own volition with he paid his own personal expenses to go down there and interview Assange, and he said, "Hey, Assange, if you can provide me proof, then I would push the administration to give you a pardon." But he never talked to Donald Trump about it. And later yesterday, they all sides except for Julian. I don't think Julian said anything yet, but they all agreed that that's what happened. That he went on there on his own and he was going to talk to the administration. But then when he tried to talk to the administration about it, he was blocked. So he never even got the chance to talk to Donald Trump about it. But they've got this conspiracy. All of the conspiracy theories are going again off of this thing. And I cannot stand it. It just bothers me so much when people make claims that they can't prove. Even if they're, what is the word? Plausible, even if they're plausible. Like to them it's like, oh, if it's plausible, then we should talk about it. No. Prove it or get out. I'm so tired of disinformation online. I don't know. Like it's really hard for me to go long after seeing such an impressive Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index number. And, ES is down a little bit from yesterday, but it's just like a moderate pullback. Do we see? Let's check CNBC. Is there some other? Morgan Stanley to buy E-Trade for $13 billion. Ooh, okay. Coronavirus live updates. Air France tallies brutal cost. Claridia says coronavirus hasn't caused Fed to reassess outlook yet. I think that the bonds are betting that at some point they're going to have to. So I suppose that the bear case here is still coronavirus. I don't know if that really gives us a good trade. I see a few things in the bonds that maybe think that I could maybe take it short. Now, conversely, in the E-mini, a buy would not be unreasonable, but there's so many tails here. I don't think that you'd be able to hold your risk here. I am noticing that on the sell, on the news, they sold really hard. And then all of this movement back up was only half of what they sold. So if they go back down to the bottom and it's lower, then we really could just have, it trend down and down and down. But I don't know. I don't really see I don't really see enough directional support for a trade here. We might have another just no trade day. I don't know. Hmm.
Harlequin says, don't you think some stocks are up way too much? For instance, Walmart. All numbers were horrible and they still climbed up. Also, Tesla is just lol.
So I'm not too concerned about like the index itself. I think that like, hey, we could have a pullback here and it would be like totally okay. But within the index, there's going to be people that are overvalued and there's going to be people that are undervalued. You talk about Walmart. I still go back to Apple. I guess Apple has had a bit of its reckoning, but remember a couple of weeks ago when I was like, Apple is parabolic and that can't last. It took coronavirus to cut them down to size, but for sure there's some stocks that have to go down. That doesn't necessarily mean that the index as a whole has to do that, though. Probably what is more appropriate is for the indexes to just go sideways until, the fall. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But I don't know. The thing that's weird, I guess the reason why I'm kind of having a hard time at the moment is that the markets really have been at a turning point. Yesterday, it looked like they were starting to go one way, and now it's just kind of dying down. So, like, what are they waiting for? I'm not quite sure what the deal is. The bonds, I mean, man, if it doesn't fall apart, if the E-mini continues to move up, the bonds are going to get slaughtered, man. So look at this 6J yesterday. And if the bonds go the way of the 6J at all, it's going to be a bloodbath. A bloodbath. I'm hungry. I'm going to eat some food here, okay? I got like a few bites of oatmeal. I'm just going to chew them down.
Antenna Wild says the market is artificially inflated by huge deficits. It will crash in the next year or two.
So, I'm going to have to disagree with that one. So I think that what you're getting at, Antenna, is that a lot of companies have been doing share buybacks. And everybody says that stock prices are artificially inflated because of stock buybacks. The thing that you need to understand about stock buybacks is that this is not a new phenomenon at all. I mean, the whole everybody doing just the stock buybacks is definitely something that's been going on since 2008, really. It used to be that you would do a dividend, but investors really aren't valuing dividends as much anymore. Part of it is because of the tax structure. So they buy back shares. Guess what? It's the same thing. You're returning money back to the investors. Now, some of these companies take on debt to do it.
Harlequin says at Antenna Wild the funny thing is there are so many people that try to catch the top and blow up their account. Instead of just playing the trend and especially in equity futures. They are so bullish.
Yeah. So some companies take on debt to do this, but this is, again, it's always been this way. The levels of corporate debt, according to the Federal Reserve, are not to a concerning level, and they're not really all that concerned about it. Yes, if rates started to rise again, it would be a problem for them, but it would be something that they would be able to work through. But the larger thing that you got to look at here is that it takes a real significant change in the economic outlook to change the trend. Think about, December of 2018, right? Like, that was a real change. And we're not getting anything like that right now. Like, a lot of things have come in that would maybe make you think that could happen, and it just didn't. So, yeah, trying to go short is not too smart. And I would just always be skeptical about that, because like the thing that always goes through my mind when this happens is I remember the Euro crisis and the second Euro crisis. And I mean, like, people say that we haven't had a recession since 2008, but in my mind, we've had 6. Because I can think of at least 6 times when the markets were extremely concerned and everybody thought that it was all just going to crash and fall apart. And everybody would always be looking at some sort of technical level. Oh, this is the downside target is going to be X. And it would go through it, and they're like, oh, now there's no telling how far it will go. And then it would sit down there for a day or two and it would reverse. You know what I mean? Man, they really came back down quickly there in the treasuries, by the way. Still not to a place where I can take a trade. So I'm just really skeptical every time that I hear that, because I've seen much worse.
Wild says, historically speaking, we're well overdue for a recession. Now China is being hit with the coronavirus.
I think that in today's world, we've talked about this before, but this is one of my favorite ideas. Hold on a second. I really should just be going short, but I think I'm gonna stick to my being conservative here. It's been doing me well lately. They just plowed through 08 though. All right, they gave us good buy or a good sell. So I think that we have to reform our definition of a recession. Really. Because the system does not allow as much risk. So the pullbacks literally just can't be as deep. They happen quickly. They happen more quickly because everybody's in indexes and the robots and everything like that. But the depth of them, you don't get as big of a pullback as you used to be able to get, and you don't get as deep of a recession as you used to get. And why? Because we have a much stronger financial system to back it now. Now we have a system where if something goes wrong, there's something to catch us. There's funds and all sorts of safeguards that assume that we're going to blow up and that we can enable when that happens. And there's no more proprietary trading, so that's not a concern. And there's just less risk in the system. And so the pullbacks are not going to be as deep. And so the truth of the matter is that the Euro crisis was a recession, in my mind. The Euro crisis absolutely qualifies as a market panic. And I think that was the last recession. And that whole thing that happened in 2018, or, like the December of 2017, 2018, or was it December 2018 and then early 2019? Yes. That's right. That was the last recession. That's where I would be marking all my levels from. So this idea to me that we've been 10 years without a recession, I don't view it that way. I think that over, in 10 years from now, economists will have had to readjust everything. The same thing with the yield curve. Everybody says the yield curve is inverted, and that means that there's going to be a recession.
In contrast to the two previous recessions in 2002, when the two ends of the dynamic yield curve flattened here, we have a lot of room here on the bond yield side.
Yeah. The yield curve is already really flat because there is no inflation, and the Federal Reserve is going to be keeping rates low for an extended period of time. And that means that the amount of premium that you get for taking longer term bonds on like the 30-year is not worth very much anymore. And so the curve is already really flat. And so guess what? It all somebody has to do is sneeze and the yield curve inverts. So it's not indicative of anything anymore. And everybody's saying, "Oh, the yield curve inverted." You know what? Before we get two quarters of negative growth, I bet you that you will see the yield curve invert 4, 5, 6 times. It's going to happen over and over, and everybody's going to have to recalibrate and say, the levels are different now because the economy is different. The economy has changed. What you need to do to see a recession now is different. And from an investing standpoint, because you say, oh, you want to buy in the recession, or you want to reduce rates in the recession,
Antenna Wild says, if Warren or Sanders wins the presidency, what are the chances that the biggest investors pull massive amounts of money out of the market?
I don't think that people would, how do we say this? I don't think that if Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders became president, that people would pull all of their money out and move it over to the Cayman, or something like that. But there would be a very dramatic market sell-off because companies aren't going to be able to hold very effective valuations with all of the regulations that such a presidency would put in place. Okay. But business owners would write it out because those administrations would not be able to accomplish anything. They're not going to be able to get anything through Congress. At least I would hope not. We'll see. That was another thing that I want to go through. I have another bite of oatmeal, and then let's look at this Senate race, because there's a real question in my mind about if Sanders or Warren got elected, what would Republicans be able to maintain the Senate? We'll see. So we'll look at that here in a second. Let me take another bite of food. Okay, so here's a map here of um elections, right? So here you have Alabama. They have him as leans Republican. There is no way that the Democrats are going to win that seat. All right. This Colorado one might not be. Okay. McSally, I think will it win that one? Oh, Cory Gardner. Okay, so let's come and look at some polls. Real clear politics. Polls. Senate polls. Hmm. No. Oh man, they're gonna implement one of those. So lame. Now ads. Let's see here if I can pause on this side.
Antenna Wild says there are only 12 Democrats up for re-election versus 21 Republicans.
Yeah, but it's not so simple, right? So we'll look at that in a second. Can you get Senate polls now? Okay, cool. So I want to see. Okay, so Arizona, McSally versus Kelly. They actually have Kelly up. So let's come back over here and put that one in a toss-up, okay? How do I... Yeah. Okay. That way it shows that it's the incumbent, but probably it's not. She might not win that one, okay? But I want to see Colorado Gardner versus Hickenlooper. Is Gardner the... Oh, he is not going to win. He is not going to win. Are you kidding me? Okay. So the issue is when you come in here, so they're showing these are like the contested races. How many are Republicans? 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then Collins. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 is what they list. Did I count that right? Make it big. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So it's the problem is that a lot of these ones that are up for re-election, there's no chance that they're going to lose. These are all like safe races. Okay, these ones down here. So 21 and 12 is not so good. It's more like 10 to 5. Okay. Trying to look here for which ones would be. Cory Gardner is a Republican incumbent, huh? I mean, that's not so good. And I don't think that Susan Collins is going to win either. So, like, if we put her blue, and then we were saying that McSally was, let's put that light
Antenna
blue.
Wild says Susan Collins is toast.
Yeah, she's toast. I think she's probably toast. Okay, Minnesota. Yeah, I'm just going to move this one over here to this side, if that's okay. If that's okay. Okay. Michigan. James versus Peters is close. Is actually very, very close. So that one, they've got that right. Montana? Which one is the Montana? Steve Daines? They're not even pulling that one. Kelly. Alabama. Yeah. Okay, so I already have that. Alabama should be marked in dark red. Let's just get all these ones dark red, right? Like, let's just get everything like straight up like that. Let's just say that McSally loses. Oh no, wait. So this is the one that we want to be light. New Mexico. What is the New Mexico?
Antenna Wild says Montana will stay red, no doubt.
Yeah. Tom Udall. I think that one is still going to be blue though. But I don't see any pulls on New Mexico. Maine, North Carolina. Ooh, okay. Where's North Carolina? They rate that one as red, but that one is not. So this one should be like that. Okay. So now all of a sudden we have everything else. So what's the Georgia one? Oh, no. Okay. And where's the light? Oh, Michigan. So that was the one that we were just saying was close, right? Peters +1. Okay. North Carolina. Let's just make sure that these are all North Carolina. Emerson Smith. Oh yeah, that should be dark blue. Okay. So I got Arizona, New Mexico, Minnesota, and Michigan. So yeah, am I on page 2 here? Yeah, I'm on page 2. Page 1 again. Maine is close. Is actually should be like that. I will put it like that. I really don't think that she's gonna win though. But for the analysis' sake, it's so close that we really should. Okay. This Arizona one is close. Michigan, I think we could put safely Democratic. Well, maybe we could do it like that, but yeah, actually, let's do it like that. Okay. Safely Democrat. The Michigan one. Oh, sorry. Which one was the one that I was just saying? Oh, Peters +6. That one, yeah, I think that's appropriate. The Colorado one definitely should be dark blue. And then again, what did I say about New Mexico? Is that really a light blue one? I don't see it. I don't see any polls for New Mexico. Okay, so if we just do that, then when you really look at it, who's really actually on the defensive here?
Antenna Wild says 538 gives Tom Udall of New Mexico a 7-point lead.
Oh, that's right. This should be dark blue, right? So, and what's the New Hampshire one? And I didn't look at that one. Oh, that's Tom Udall. But he's not running again. Who's running against him? I'm just looking at the 538 polls, and I don't see. I don't really see a lot of Maine State, North Carolina. Yeah, it's like, okay, whatever.
Antenna Wild says Jean Shaheen.
It looks like the
Congressman John Curtis gets things done for Utah.
Whoa,
fights for small businesses, champion rural broadband, and passed the most sweeping public lands bill in decades.
Wow. I don't know where that was coming
says
from.
Republicans have a slight lead in New
John
Hampshire.
Curtis gets things done for Utah.
Closing that. Okay. I think that we got all of this stuff so this New Hampshire should be dark blue. Okay. So it really looks to me like there's four races that are close. And they're all Democrat ones, right? Like the Republicans, yeah, they have more people up for re-election, but almost all of those are safe. So there is a situation, though, where they could potentially, which ones are most up for grabs? Which ones do we have here that are dark red? Maybe... I don't really know. Georgia, Maine. Maybe North Carolina. But we already have North Carolina.
RJ Wheel says California is up for grabs.
No, California is gray because it's not. They're not up for re-election this time. The gray ones aren't up for re-election. Yeah. I don't really see where the Democrats get a pickup to get over 50. We'd have to dig down into these ones a little bit deeper. That's not going to be him. We just did that one. Montana, that's going to stay. MS.
RJ Wheel says, oh sorry. Late to party. Senate discussion. I see now.
Mitch McConnell, maybe. Maybe we could put Kentucky. Maybe Mitch McConnell. I doubt it, though. Pat Roberts. Joni Ernst. Let's see here. I'm going to put Iowa Senate race 2020 poll.
RJ Wheel says big left money going into Kentucky.
Yeah, there's big money going into Kentucky.
Antenna Wild says McConnell has ridiculous amounts of cash, although he is one of the least popular people in the Senate.
Poll. Okay. So we do see 47 to 41. Okay, so I mean let's just for the sake of argument say that one. And then what was the other one? I don't know. So to really get down into it, the chances of Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders being able to push through extremely toxic policies is low. Because either way that this shifts out, it's going to be a close to 50-50 divided Senate. The chances are that the Republicans are going to have a majority. If things go really well for them, they could have an even stronger majority than they have right now, in fact. Although if Bernie Sanders won, that would be doubtful that they would get that. But I digress. It would be hard. So, and then you're going to get a lot of moderate Democrats that are going to cross the aisle. So it would be really hard for them to get any of those policies through. So if I was a small business owner, I would be writing it out. I would be saying, okay, 4 years of Bernie Sanders, nothing's going to get done.
MKTS are open.
And then we get back. Well, the markets are always open, right? But the E-mini is open, yes. So we'll sit and wait for the E-mini to do its thing. Looks like it's a pretty slow open so far. Slower than yesterday, at least. Slower than yesterday. Bonds held 08. I don't know. When I look at bonds and I look at like where we were yesterday, I mean, look, previous close was the 131.02 half. That looks so far down there. Like, why did they move up so much overnight? There's no reason. I don't see the reason for it, at least. I feel like bonds could get slaughtered, but they want to buy them. So, whatever. Doodah. Whatever. Donald Trump has been tweeting.
Antenna Wild says it's very hard to gauge what the popular vote will actually be because Trump is so polarizing.
Oh, no, I don't think it is. I think that if you so here's the thing. Everybody is going off of a poll. Okay, there's a poll that says that of the Democrats, they do each of the Democrats and they poll them head to head with Donald Trump, and then they say, would you vote for Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump? Would you vote for Elizabeth Warren or Donald Trump? And then they say which one polls better. Okay, this is a useless poll. It is a useless poll. They do this every time. The Democrat always wins in those polls, and it has absolutely no correlation with what the final vote ends up being. They said that Donald Trump was going to lose against all of the Democrats, that he would lose to Hillary and he would lose to Bernie, and guess what? He won. Right? It's a useless poll. It is notoriously bad. And everybody on the Democrat side, particularly the Bernie Sanders fans, are obsessed with this poll about who is the most electable. Nah.
RJ Wheel says exactly. Have they not learned from 16?
Yeah. Anybody that is an astute poll watcher knows that this poll means nothing. It's not just like, this is not just like the polls tend to be wrong or anything like that. No, 2016 it was an aberration. Usually when going into the general election, the polls are pretty close. It's only been recent history that they've been bad. But this poll in particular is always bad. It's always wrong. Because really what happens is the vast majority of the American public is not paying attention. They simply aren't paying attention. And so how can that poll at this point in time really only tells you about name recognition? So what does this poll actually mean? Bernie Sanders has the most name recognition of any Democrat running right now. That's it. That's all it says. But there is a lot of polling that says that Americans would have a hard time electing somebody that's a socialist, for instance. Okay. I just, when you look at it, I can almost guarantee. I mean, if there was a poll up there for it, I would put money on it. That when the conventions are over, if Bernie Sanders is the nominee, all of the polling will show Donald Trump ahead. They won't show him as nearly as ahead as they probably should. But if Bernie Sanders is the nominee, I think that Donald Trump will just trounce him.
Antenna Wild says 56% of votes in 2016 were cast by women. Trump is losing support among women.
So they will just trounce him. Telling you. The socialists, here's where you're gonna run into problems. Okay, first of all, Americans just don't like the socialism. I mean, it's that simple. Okay. Number two, his healthcare plan is toxic. He wants to abolish the healthcare industry. Anybody that works in the healthcare industry's job is at risk. You cannot win an election by saying that you're going to destroy a whole industry. You can't. I'm sorry. But then even more important is that when you look at the states that are actually up for grabs, okay, like it doesn't matter who you elect, okay, California is going to vote for the Democrat. They're just, that's just the way that it is, right? Okay, those states don't matter. There's the states that are up for grabs. Okay, Bernie Sanders will lose Pennsylvania. So, well, let's go back to it. Let's go back to it. Is it 270towin.com? Yeah, it is. There you go. Okay. So here's the map. I don't know if they'll actually take Arizona, but these are all pretty safe calls. Okay. All right. So with all of that, North Carolina probably is like that. Okay. How does a Democrat win without? I mean, if they take Pennsylvania, okay, now all of a sudden it's possible. Now all of a sudden it's possible for the Democrat to get over 270, right? Actually, they need more than that, it looks like. Anyways, if this is solid Republican, the pickings start to get slim. I guess with Wisconsin could probably be blue. Maybe even North Carolina. I don't think that they'll take North Carolina though. They can do it. So they can there's places that they can do it, but it's really hard without Pennsylvania. Man. And if the Republicans take it, man. But the Republicans would still need to hold, North Carolina or wherever it was that we were looking.
Antenna Wild says the Democrats are intentionally working for a contested convention to stop Sanders. If Warren wins the nomination and pivots to the center, she could pull the women's support Trump is currently losing.
I mean, Donald Trump lost the women vote before anyways.
Masiak says first money earned.
Good job, Masiak. Okay, so they bought it up and now it's selling again. But it's actually still up. Why is that one drawing green for me? Oh, we just have to hold up. Turkey asks U.S. for Patriot missiles to deter Russia. What? Oh yeah, Donald Trump, by the way, was tweeting about how Mike Bloomberg, this makes Mini Mike look good compared to his performance last night. Worst debate performance in history. Anyways, I just have a really hard time seeing Bernie Sanders win anywhere in the Midwest. That's the real problem. Like, you could say, like, among women and things like that, but you have to, when you make that kind of an argument, we really have to go down to a state by state basis. You know what I mean? So, like, what is the case that Bernie Sanders wins Pennsylvania? Because I don't think that he can win Pennsylvania. Just his position on fracking alone would be a real stumbling block for people. And the problem is that your polling is just not going to show it. Like, the polling on what people think about different ideas, like, what is the polling on that we abolish the healthcare industry? It's not good. What is the polling on a candidate that calls them a socialist? It's not very good. So they put him in a head-to-head matchup. All it tells you is name recognition. When people actually have been through the convention and they actually know who the candidates are, and then you get reliable polling, I don't think that it's going to look very good for Bernie Sanders. That's my contention. And the one indicator that I would point to that backs me up on this is, who do the prediction markets think is going to win? And the prediction markets overwhelmingly favor Donald Trump. And yeah, are they working for a contested convention? I don't know if they want a contested convention, okay? Because if you steal the nomination from Bernie, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. But they want to beat him, sure. They're terrified if Bernie Sanders is their nominee, because they're concerned that not only will they lose, but that they're concerned that all of those races that we were looking at, the Republicans will pick up 4 seats in the Senate, right? That's what they're concerned about. So they definitely don't want Bernie Sanders to win. But, like, who is it going to be? Is it going to be Biden? I feel like that ship has sailed. and Amy pretty much destroyed herself yesterday. And Bloomberg was a complete dud. The only moderate left in the lane is Pete Buttigieg. And the market still does not give him any chance. So, beats me. Maybe it's just going to be Bernie. Maybe that it's unavoidable. Maybe it's unavoidable that it's Bernie. And then if it is, I think that Donald Trump's going to trounce him. I've been wrong before, but not on... well...
Antenna Wild says Biden, Amy, Pete, and Bloomberg are toast.
Yeah. I felt like that Biden did okay yesterday. Like, it would be enough for him to stay in. But the problem with Biden is that the money and the case for his campaign is already extremely damaged, isn't it? And it would take, a miracle for him to win in the states that he really needs to win and pick up support. If they actually wanted a moderate to win, Biden, Amy, and Bloomberg should all just drop out. And then it really would just be Sanders versus Buttigieg. And I think that Buttigieg could win that fight. I really think that at some point, all of these guys that don't want to vote for Buttigieg because he's gay would get over it. But that's like super speculative. I don't think there's really anything that I can point to that shows that would actually happen. Nobody else seems to believe that. A senior administration official tells me Mick Mulvaney's meeting at 10 Downing in London today, contrary to media reports, did not primarily focus on 5G and Huawei, which is being handled separately. Okay. That's good. That means that the administration is very much working with the UK to get a trade agreement with them. 3381. I don't really see... Nah, can't take that. Can't take that. What about the treasuries? Okay, so there was a little bit of liquidity at 131, 131.10. Yep. Was it 10 half and moved down? It's getting thick in the treasuries again. There is just way too much speculation bonds. Well, there's the E-mini hitting into the highs.
Masiak says just not socialism. Finally, corruption is spreading throughout the country, which is a cancer of healthy competition and a healthy market.
Okay, so that was really ugly, and I think that I can go short off of that. I can. I think I might be a little too late already. I'm still like I really want good risk. I don't want to take it at the open, for instance. US put more tariffs on China if they don't comply with phase 1. So what he's saying in
Antenna Wild
Discord.
says, when are we going to see commodity prices rise?
I don't know. I don't think that we're going to get like real inflation for a while. Like we did get the producer price index was up big yesterday and bonds appropriately sold, but I think that the longer term view is that inflation is going to remain extremely muted for a long time, for years, because these aren't just like transitory things. These are like, you know, generational things that are causing this.
Uzi Knesset says, I love when I take a trade and get out at +1 or 2 because she just ain't going and then the market reverses. Means I made the right decision.
Yeah, right. I almost never get those though. I always end up holding on and getting screwed. Yeah, see, I was too late on that trade. The treasury is climbing back up very easily. Man. Yeah, live squawk retreating. U.S. could put more tariffs on China. Purdue, we expect China to live up to phase 1 deal. People are putting their spin on this news. Oh, be careful. It looks like they're trying to manipulate people.
Uzi Knesset says shorted ZB from 19 to 17. Ain't much, but bailing was right.
Yeah, that was actually a really good one, huh? Okay. So that ruined my trade. They came back up too quickly.
Masiak says short is not good idea, I think.
I don't think so. In the mini,
Masiak
see
says on S.
that one. It looks like maybe could have worked. I don't think that they actually hit enough into 82 to fill me, but it's a hammer. I don't want to
Uzi
trade that.
Knesset says 20 is the midpoint of the last hour. Sellers are trying to hold it, but I had to close the short when it stopped moving down.
I actually could get a long here in the the 10-year though. Or did I say a short, a long? Actually, kind of telling me I could maybe go long. But this here in the E-mini, this is messy. I think that hit of 82, if I hadn't been filled the first time, it'd be filled now. Okay. So up and higher pretty easily there.
Antenna Wild says, do you think there will be a spike in gold before the election?
You know what? I don't really follow gold
Uzi
all that
Knesset
well.
says 20 held so far.
I mean, there's been a spike in gold. I think that gold is going to have to come back at some point. Unless we really have like a really awful first and second quarter.
Uzi Knesset says can't get back in now. Have to wait till next hour.
Yeah. So I think that the buyers could continue to push. Maybe I should have reversed on that. That hammer. That would have been 3 points really fast too. I don't know about that one. That's a tough call. It is green. It is up on the hourly basis. Where do they have to get to be up on the day? 33.92. I don't know.
Uzi Knesset says, oh, I just realized my ZN profile didn't load all the way.
It just looked like they could just push it. This kind of move makes me want to just click.
Uzi Knesset says there it goes.
Yeah. So you think that they fall out the bottom here in the treasuries? Look at that. 45.99, then 25.50. It looks like some strong imbalance developing in the treasury.
Uzi Knesset says, oh no, I fixed my ZN profile, lol, that's what I meant, sorry.
They're just going to keep pushing. Oh, at the top of the hour,
says, what is a bird on the back crowd?
Yeah, I have a sun conure.
Masiak says, nice sound. Uzi Knesset says, I am like, why is my ZN profile only 10 ticks wide?
Oh, Uzi. Yeah, you know what? I feel like that you can't hear him as well with this new microphone, because you're the first person to say anything about it in like 2 months. It used to be every day when he wake up, everybody, there's the bird. I still want to get a different microphone. I still want to get that Shure SM55. Or Shure 55SH rather. I don't know. I think that should block out a little bit of him, but probably ultimately I need to get drapes to go over the door here, and that'll really block him out. And then I think you won't be able to hear him so much. But we'll see. I can also just get a better seal on the door, because that door really doesn't block the noise at all. World Health Organization holds press conference on coronavirus outbreak. They do this every day so that the market can sell during that time. Is that what this is? This has been like every day.
RJ Wheels says my first day here that noise made me put new batteries in my smoke alarms.
I could understand that. That's funny. You see how I want to get filled here in the 10-year and they're not doing it? Maybe they will. I don't know how.
Antenna Wild says sounds like a hamster running on a rusty wheel.
Okay, well, I took it. I don't know what my this trade in the 10-year is a little bit off plan. Like it's not going along with the Wyatt trade at least. It's kind of more the equities look bullish and there's some volume trading there. I suppose it being a right there next to the point of control though is not helpful, is it? Also seeing it go bid and 500 stacking there says that I bought at a balanced price. It's not necessarily helpful either. We're gonna see here if they get to maybe 84, we could see some absorption. It's curious the way that the bonds have been pushing up. They're pushing up like they thought that the E-mini was really going to take a turn there, and now the E-mini's just holding, and they're still holding the bid. I mean, if it comes back and fills that at 10, I'm probably like golden, so I should remove that, but I might need to think about getting out up here. It doesn't tick back down. It's a little sweep there.
Sam Parati says crazy that Pete blasted Medicare for all but later said Denmark, socialist, was better for American dream.
Yeah, that was, oh, you know what, Sam, I mean, I thought it was funny that he thought that Denmark was better for the American dream. But I mean, here's the thing that I think is funny about all of this was that, yeah, the Scandinavian countries really did embrace like socialism, like democratic socialism or whatever it is that you want to call. But the untold story about this is that throughout the 90s, they really got rid of all that. They really backtracked significantly. And the people here in the United States arguing for that stuff don't acknowledge it. I just find that, like at some point, everybody that's smart, no, I don't know how to put it, has made a conclusion about how wealth is built, and it's not built from stealing it from somebody else. That you have to encourage people to build things and create more efficiency and give them incentives to generate wealth, or it just doesn't, the whole society just doesn't work.
Antenna Wild says Pete will latch onto anything he thinks has popular support.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that he's just right, him and his staff are just identifying one little data point that
Uzi Knesset says they latch onto anything that gets retweets.
Right? This is all the confirmation bias thing, right? Like they don't sit down and read the study and say, okay, so how did they determine that the best country for the American dream is Denmark? Well, like what metrics about Denmark are they basing that off of? I bet you he couldn't tell you that. He just knows that the headlines said that, and so he's repeating it, right? Confirmation bias. You're gonna post something like that, you should read it and make sure that it actually backs you up,
Sam Parati says it was economic mobility.
Yeah, and how did they determine that? By what there actually was economic
says I like Amy
mobility?
calling him out for his talking point memorization.
I mean, I felt like Amy's attacks on him last night were so ineffective, though. Like,
Sam Parati says more money than parents.
it's. I think it's just so funny the way the barbs come out for Pete. Like Pete was very, very much a Bernie Sanders supporter. Like all those, they brought that up in the debate. Like his dad, Pete's dad, is like a hardcore socialist, right? Like the idea that Pete is like actually, he's in the moderate lane, but the idea that he himself is actually moderate is kind of ridiculous. If Sanders and Warren weren't there, he would be running as a socialist. And he would be running the socialist policies,
Wild says Amy and Pete fighting each other just helps Sanders, Warren, and Biden.
Nah, I mean, the thing is that Pete destroyed Amy. Amy's done, right? And him defeating her as a net positive for him, rather. She might still be there at the next debate, but I really don't see how anybody says, oh, Amy, she's my, I really think that she would make a super strong leader. No way. No way you watched that debate last night and say that about her. She's done. It's net positive, Pete. I'd say that if anybody benefits from the debate last night the most, it's probably Pete. Because even though Warren did really, really well, she's not going to overtake Sanders. Elizabeth Warren is basically running to be vice president at this point. Okay, so they're hitting into 10, but it's absorbing. The E-mini continues to push up. I'm getting...
Sam Parati says, I agree Warren was auditioning as VP.
I'm getting the long
says the big
signals.
story on Twitter is Warren tearing into Bloomberg.
Oh, yeah.
She's seeing a bump.
She's going to see a bump, yeah. But she's not. The problem is that the progressive wing has already chosen Bernie. And they're not gonna turn back and say, well, maybe, because they're so concerned about
says Twitter
getting
isn't
split.
Reality. Remember that.
They're so concerned about getting split. They're not. Now that they've chosen Bernie, they're just gonna cling to it, regardless of if anything happens that shows that that's a really bad idea. The thing that's funny, and going back to the point I was making earlier.
RJ Wheels says Bloomberg's. In all the breaks, Warren and Mike were having collegial talks.
Oh, really? The thing that I think is just so funny is that if Elizabeth Warren had gone after the other candidates as aggressively as she did Michael Bloomberg earlier in the debates, she'd be the nominee right now. Man, why didn't she go against Joe Biden that strongly? Why didn't she go against, or even frankly Bernie? Like, she could have been the president, but it's like she cares more about that a progressive wins than that she wins, right? And so she didn't win. It's kind of weird, right? Anyways, well, why did she go after Bloomberg in the way that she did? It's personal, man. She hates him. She hates him because he's wealthy and he's using that wealth to try and interfere with politics. That pisses them off so bad. They looked like they were going to clear 09.5, but then, the bid is kind of firming up a little bit.
Antenna Wild says Warren is lightning smart and Bloomberg is an easy target.
Well, she's I mean, this is the thing, is I really feel like that Warren only looks good when she's on the attack. Like, that's what she should have been, on the attack the whole campaign. But she is kind of, one, she was worried about splitting the left-wing vote, the socialist vote. And then two, she was worried about looking too aggressive for a general election, which is a legitimate concern. But she didn't hold back for Bloomberg. So it was personal. So I was saying, my point earlier in the stream was that Warren and Bernie, they really don't like the way that wealth is generated. Like, that's just the long and short of it. And I don't see how anybody on Wall Street or anybody with wealth can look at these people and say, oh yes, they're a great direction for the country, because those people know that Sanders and Warren are basically actively against the things that they know generate wealth. So they're not gonna support them. It's gonna continue to be a slog. Even if Bernie starts to walk away with it, they're gonna do everything that they can to stop him. Even Bloomberg got decimated last night. Like, man, he got really decimated. But he's not gonna drop out of the race. He's not gonna stop spending tons of money on ads and stuff. He's gonna stay in it, and he's gonna try and get revenge on Liz. But we'll see what he does. I thought that when he attacked Bernie Sanders for having, being a millionaire and having multiple houses, everybody on the right really liked that. Of course, the Democrats didn't, but I thought it was a biting critique. And if he continues to throw out lines like that at debates, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. And the thing that you got to realize is that the left wing of the party is not the majority of the party.
Antenna Wild says Bloomberg said he'll support the nominee, but he'll never support Sanders.
I don't think he'll support Sanders. Yeah. I don't think he'd support Warren. I'm starting to wonder if the only reason he's in there is to try and undermine those two. Because when you look at what he did last night, he was so inept when he was being attacked, but then when he was going after Sanders, he was sharp. So I just feel like that maybe that's indicative of where their priorities are, and that maybe the only reason Bloomberg is in the race is to try and stop the socialists. I mean, like, he straight up called Bernie a communist, right? So, that E-mini looking pretty good with the, the bull flags and all that sort of stuff. But the treasuries continue to maintain their bid up here at 09.5. Now, if they're able to break 09.5, and we could move back down to 08, and then even after 08, there's, it looks like a long way down after that. But the buyers not giving up. This is now the second or third attempt at 09.5. Okay, well, so they took it again. Let's see if they actually hold an offer and take 09 this time. Okay, I heard a click. It was a stack on the bid way far away. Yeah, so if you're just joining us, because I have the title and this is the first time, because normally we just day trade, right? But you can, watch it on replay and go back to the beginning, and you can explain my view on the debate. But the view that I'm coming out with.
Masiek says, I heard that in Sweden husband have to have signature on paper by his wife to sleep with and make sex her. This is socialism in Scandinavian.
I've never heard that before. Anyways, but my general takeaway, the thing that I want to try and the point that I make that I don't think that you're going to hear anywhere else is that even though Bloomberg got destroyed, I think
says, or California law.
I think that the business community is watching the way that Bloomberg got savaged and is going to start to be like there was some people saying that maybe Wall Street will be okay with a Warren or Bernie. Not after last night. They're going to try even harder to try and push the center lane. And the only guy left in the center lane, I feel, is Buttigieg. So I think that net this helps Buttigieg. But the markets don't seem to be, like the predicted markets don't seem to be showing that yet. So maybe I'm wrong. But that's kind of my prediction, is that it's going to come down to Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders because of the debate last night. But there's another debate on Tuesday, and it could completely change again after that. So who knows? We'll see. Maybe Bloomberg redeems himself. I think it'd be really hard, but I've seen crazier things. I've seen crazier things in politics. Okay, so they're back into... So 2 more points, I think. Do you see that 33.90? There's a little bit of people sitting up there. 33.90, 125. Ooh. So I think that they might get sucked up to that, but after that, I don't know. Okay, so once again, they failed to hold 09.5, and it's bidding up in the 10-year. And there's this big old order at 09 that they would have to hit through. I don't know if they'd ever take that. Okay, wow. He sold all 28.74 just like that. They gonna start stacking 09.5? Come on, stack it. Nobody's hit into 09 yet. Okay, well, one retail trader hit into 09. Thank you, Mr. Retail Trader, that it was so brave as to sell 09. Or if that was you getting stopped
Lucas
out,
says, good morning, Seth
I'm
and
sorry.
Partners.
Hey, Lucas, how's it going? How have you been doing? I think that treasuries are too high.
Uzi Knesset says, lol, he was looking out for ya.
I guess.
Uzi Knesset says, that one guy, he's your buddy.
Well, thank you. Thank you, that one guy. Look, they traded 33.89 into 09.5. That's good for us.
Lucas says pretty good, Seth. How about you?
I haven't taken a whole lot of trades this week. Like yesterday, I was totally willing to take them, but then I just never really saw anything. Oh, I'm still feeling a little under because of the... So did I tell you, I got this medication that's ridiculously expensive. And then I thought that I had finally gotten it filled and it was supposed to be by mail. But they don't want to do it because I need the brand name, because the generic just doesn't work. They're different, fundamentally different because of the coding on the pill. And so it finally gets here in the mail, and guess what? It's the generic. Ugh. So I took the generic, but I know last time I did it, it did not help me much at all. So that's how I'm doing. Okay. Ooh, they just took that all
Lucas
at once.
says as long as it helps. I kept falling asleep this week, lol. I did want to trade today.
So not as many sitting at 09 as they were advertising, but they did hit back and hold the price afterwards. So we're still kind of that as the line in the sand, but the sellers made a strong statement there. Okay, they cleared it again. This is good. I do see the stacking at 09.5 makes me a little weary though. Because, sometimes they're stacking because they're trying to push it, and they're trying to push it because they're afraid that they won't be able to get more. So that's why when I see stuff like that, it especially when it's slow, like it has been, that makes me cautious. $27.69. And I have to say, I'm in good spirits because the debate yesterday was so entertaining. I just loved watching that.
Uzi Knesset says it's weird in ZB, like, all the buying seems to be happening on the bid. Market buys are mad slow.
Yeah. Nobody's buying it. Are we getting some spreading action again today? We are.
Antenna Wild says the FDA requires brand name and generic drugs to be identical in their effectiveness. This means generic drugs have the same active ingredients, strength, dosage form, and route of administration.
So the problem with this particular drug is that the active ingredients and strength and all of those sorts of things between the generic and the brand name are the same. But the brand name one has a coating, and what this coating does is it prevents the pill from being dispersed into your body until it is in your colon. And the generic does not have that technology. They can't duplicate that. They don't know what it does. They don't know how to do it. And so the generic is not even half as effective because it gets dispersed earlier. And so that's where it's this like unique case where like the generic really doesn't cut it. And so you have to like, and it's really hard to convince the insurance of that. Okay, so you see that shouldn't happen. Now I have to scratch it. God damn it. I saw it. I was even like, I need to be cautious, but it came back up those 2 ticks way so quickly. Sucks. This might be one of those ones where maybe they'll let me out and scratch it, but then they'll push back down to the bottom and fall out the bottom and be like, oh, that was a trade I wanted. Damn it. That sucks. And that was all market orders too. Okay, what's this? That was so crazy. And the
Uzi
offer
Knesset
just
says 18
completely
is big
pulled.
line in the sand on multiple time frames for ZB. Alex Niemi says you should have been looking for a long S steadily pushing up, but bonds refuse to come off equals strength.
No, so that move is very suspect. It was all pulling. They literally, the offers just completely pulled out of the way. Based on, like, you come over here. Do you see this? It's really hard to show you. I'm going to have to, like, circle it for you guys. See that right there? Oh, man. Why do I have it black? Yellow. That right there means that the move happened on pulling from offers canceling.
Alex Niemi says long position building by bigger guys, that's why it's subtle.
Well, sure. Remember, there's always going to be an equal buyers versus sellers, right? But what I'm seeing here between what we saw when it was between 9 and 10 might not necessarily be accumulation by people. It kind of looks to me like it's just slow. But it is curious to me that if the E-mini turns even just a teeny tiny little bit, they bid the treasuries up 3 or 4 ticks. Like they seem to be preparing themselves for like the end of the world. But that one was off plan anyways. I really wanted the 2, but it just came back too quickly. Is what really happened there. Look at that. I don't know what that just
Alex Niemi says true, slow, but they were building a long spread position.
Yeah, I mean...
Uzi Knesset says pop goes the weasel.
I get what you're saying, Alex. I'm just trying to put a little
Lucas
bit of...
Lucas says you may know this, Seth. How can I
there's
keep
many
past
ways
trades to show on the trade column? I only want current trades and I keep deleting them.
I'm not sure what you mean. Lucas, you have to explain that better. I'm just saying, like, if I see a ton of absorption at 10.5, like here's a 47.95 at 10.5, like, is that really all one person taking a position? Was there really like big guys absorbing down there?
Uzi Knesset says show the bid-ask histogram.
Like, it could be, but
Uzi Knesset says it'll show aggregate market orders.
We really don't have the data to really know for sure. Because there's alternate explanations for all of those things. And it's not until you really get, you know, a move. I mean, if we come up and we push, like, let's say that we make it to 131.16 in the 10-year. Then I would say, okay, yeah, it looks like that the big guys were all long and we're always planning on moving it up. But what just happened right there kind of looks to me like some fishy business. Like, there was a lot of pulling. You can see it there on my bid-ask chart, right? There was some pulling there. So, okay. Well, they took that one up like 13.5. Like, that's nuts. This is just nuts. I don't know, man. I mean, normally I would want to be participating in that long, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Contextually, I don't understand what's going on. Why they would be bidding it up that
Alex
strongly.
Niemi says for sure, dude, we're all just shooting in the dark.
Yeah.
I just try to build a plausible story in my head that explains what's happening. Never really know though.
Yeah.
Uzi Knesset says DAAAAAMN.
We're on the same page, Alex. So that was insane. There's some news out there that we don't know about. I just can't imagine why they would move that strongly. Like, look at this. We're just coming back to like where we were after it was like a strong buy. Like, remember when I was like, oh, 33.82 to 84, that would have been great. And the treasuries have bid up like 6 points. Are you kidding me? What's going on?
Lucas says where I find that option, Uzi. I don't want past trades to show, I want to avoid them, only what is being traded now. Uzi Knesset says I was on the wrong side of that too, but I took my paltry 2-tick slull.
I mean, are you talking about these inside columns? Like, there's this one that just shows you the most recent one. Is that the one in the middle? Is that what you want? I don't completely understand what you're talking about, Uzi.
Lucas says can't see Seth.
Oh, sorry. This middle column, were we talking about this one right here? Where it just shows the most recent trade. Well, what just happened there is something you could fade, but it looks like it's too late.
Lucas says yes, I want those past trades to not show.
So this two columns are the current trades at bid and current trades at ask. Okay. It will always show these ones that were further back, but you can change how quickly it resets. And then this middle one is called the LTQ column. Man, should I be buying the E-mini here? That's curious. Okay. Hmm. I don't like what I just saw there in the ES. Like, I can see some people on the offer trying, like myself, trying to catch it. And I'm not necessarily a big fan when I see a ton of people taking the same trade as me. And I'm seeing about 3 dozen or so. Treasury did come back. I think that maybe 13.5 would be a reasonable short. Now I can take that. All right. I was at 829. Well, okay. We might have to cut this a little bit short because it's almost time to go. Global Times sees Apple sales down 40 to 50%. I mean, is that what they were buying it on? I don't know, man. What the hell? What the hell? I can't help but see that and want to participate. I must be, I don't know. I feel like I might be out of my mind here, guys. Because I see that. I just can't imagine what could possibly be out there that would justify somebody taking such an aggressive position in the treasury. Okay, well, I finally got a favorable tick in the E-mini. My wife is getting so mad at the dogs whining at her. Like, she has the baby, she wants to take care of the baby, and the dogs whine at her. She's like, go away. I just can't imagine. Like, I mean, there's been some stuff in I don't know, man. Maybe they're just being crazy. They're making me feel crazy though. Hi. Okay. I'm gonna end it here in a second. So when that fills, and then we'll close it. Come on. Okay, the Treasury lost 13.5 for a moment. Still a lot of volume trading there. Sell that shit, yeah. But 13 stacks up. I don't know, guys. It still looks okay for me in the ES. I'm kind of wondering, though, if maybe I should bring my target in, though. Okay. I can see the E-minis trying to make something happen here. There is a bill auction today. I didn't see that. Maybe it's the bill auction. Yeah. Oh, that's the baby. Come on, take it. Okay. Well, E-mini kind of looks like it's building up some volume here. Okay, good. Oh, today is 2020-02-20. They're all twos. So that's fun, I guess. ES goes up, bonds go up.
Alex Niemi says emo, money's moving out of yen and they need some place to stash it, hence overall strength in the bonds.
You know, that could
Antenna
be.
Wild says Bloomberg bought the DNC to force a
So-
brokered convention, because Sanders had the DNC change the rules last year so superdelegates can't weigh in on the first round. But they can if it's brokered.
So Alex, I'm interested. If that's the case, why is it different right now? Like normally the yen and the treasuries are correlated. But right now we're seeing all of the money is coming out of the yen and you're saying that they're going into the bonds. Why is that? Okay, we got filled on our live trades, so that's great. That was live. These ones in the 10-year aren't. Because I've been having difficulty with the 10-year, and so we're kind of on probation. Okay, interesting that we got filled
Alex
and that the
Niemi
cumulative
says
delta went
coronavirus
negative.
spread to South Korea.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that the money's fleeing Asia in general. Hence the correlation doesn't stand up the way that it normally does. Well, I'll tell you with what just happened there in the E-mini, we should be getting more than
Alex
a tick
Niemi
down.
says yes.
We should be getting more
Alex
than a tick
Niemi
down,
says
and
which
it's
is
not.
close to JP, as is China. They're worried about that whole region having econ issues. Alex Niemi says that's why the
Why
core
the
is breaking
correlation
down.
breaking down. Okay. So I was asking yesterday people, and they were like, what are your theories about why the Japanese yen moved the way that it did today? And I don't think that anybody really knew. Yeah. That was a little bit too strong of a downtick, though. I don't know about that one. But the bigger thing, though, on the Treasury, and the thing that I was trying to get at was that the move up was strong, and it does look like somebody had some absorption on there, but the move up also happened mostly on pulling. And then we saw a lot of volume trade at 13.5. So there are probably some big short positions at 14 as well, and they appear to be trying to push it down. So don't be surprised if they don't pull the bids out and bring us back down to 10 really quickly. It could happen just as fast. And there's no way for us to know because we can't really see what big guys are out there. This theoretical seller might not exist. It might have just been profit taking. Just seeing that right there doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence. Okay. Because there was a big stack, but then they didn't
Alex
trade
Niemi
down.
says true dat.
They didn't trade down.
Air Cages says hello.
Hey. I'm just typing up my cryptocurrency notes. So for those of you guys that are new, if you haven't checked out the Patreon, you can do that. I make all of the posts public after a week. So if you subscribe, you get to see them that day. And then a week later, you can see what I thought about the cryptocurrency market and my valuation indicator. Maybe making a little bit more noises, but I think he's okay. Yeah, I don't like the way that first trade where I lost.
Air Cages says Bitcoin is fucking everything up.
Man, that sell was ugly, wasn't it? I was just saying in my notes that, things look overvalued to me here, but because it's all whales and stuff, you're just going to see a lot of shenanigans, right? And that's definitely what you're seeing. But I continue to say, where are these new buyers going to come from? It just doesn't seem like the same thing that it was in 2017. People just aren't interested. Well, it's also interesting to me because I remember seeing that sell just before I left work yesterday, and it's still down there. They didn't really move it anywhere after that. Where did I get long from in the treasury, in the E-mini, by the way? 85.75, so 86, really. So 88 was fine. Yeah, 88 was fine. By the way, thanks for stopping by. Alex Niemi, I was thinking about that because you made the same kind of observation that I like to make. It was just when I was looking at it, I was in the trade. It was I couldn't be sure that that's what was happening. Normally I will sit and let it be there, and then doesn't look like it's going. I guess I should take the two. It usually doesn't come back that quickly on you. You know what I mean? But you seem like you know what you're talking about.
Air Cages says I'm gonna
glad to
buy
have
all the
you.
Bitcoin. 2017 got nothing on me.
Yeah, you can buy all the What about all the garlic coin? I'm still waiting. No. Don't do it. Don't do it. Let's not manipulate the cryptocurrency market, folks, okay? 7K at 12 half, really? See, I'm looking for a downside that I'm not so sure is gonna happen. They're holding that big bid there at 12, like, what are the chances that they just eat through that with 7K trading at the bid at 12 half after as much volume as we've had trade here so far already?
Air Cages says Garlic coin pump incoming.
Yeah.
Alex Niami says yep, I know what you mean. I've been crushed by those type of moves more than a few times, haha.
This is why I've lately I've only been taking like 2 ticks of risk because I don't like it when it comes back on you so quickly, you know? Like I've just been going for less and less and less in the treasuries. I don't know. Like I'll have really good periods. I have like a 3-month period where I just kill it, and then I'll have like a 3-month period where like everything falls apart and nothing works. Cool. But what about 11 and a half? Mm-hmm. Come on. Move that down because I thought that they were like immediately moving back. I gotta get going. So I do think that there could be a lot more downside in the treasury. But if we take 4, that puts us positive on our treasury trades by a tick, and that's okay. Ooh, look at that stack. That's pretty aggressive. So it's a hard, this kind of action, because there's definitely something going on there, and we can definitely see, but it's really hard to predict what it's going to do, you know? Like, could you really predicted that we were going to come back 4 ticks like this? Well, I only took it because we got the volume spike. But they could have continued, or there could have been another headline come out, you know, and would have destroyed the trade. So it's like it's hard because you know something's going on, but I feel like, you know, I'm missing just enough to really want to take it, you know? But that's also where some of the best trades can come from, so I don't know. I'm surprised that they didn't fill me at 11.5 there. They pulled all the way, so that I'm 826 in line, but they didn't fill me, huh? Yeah, baby, he makes interesting noises. I want to just go up there and pick him up and hold him, but I know that as soon as I do that, he's going to wake up and he's going to be like, "You don't have boobs." I want boobs. That's what he always does. As soon as I start holding him, not that I don't think he doesn't like me, but it's like I remind him that I'm not mom. It's like, okay, it's time to feed me again. So this one, yeah, there he's crying. I'm just gonna leave it. Let's just assume that we got filled there and we got +4, huh? I think it's gonna fill. Okay, there we go. We got it. Okay, I gotta go. I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's gonna be what? It's Friday. Friday might be interesting. Hey, we made $10, so I'm happy. Democrat debate was good, so I'm happy. Some new people come in today that were very insightful, and I enjoyed meeting. So thank you guys very much. I hope to see you guys again. We're here every day, so I hope to see you guys again. Make sure that you subscribe, hit that like button. If you subscribe to the channel and you click the bell icon to get the notifications, it makes it a lot easier to find the channel when we go live every day. So if you want to come in and watch, I would recommend doing it that way, or just like bookmarking the live link. But anyways, Antenna Wild says thank you. Also subscribe. Yeah, and Antenna, I think we could get a lot more into some of this stuff, but we didn't really have the time today. But let's let it play out for a few days. This is going to be super interesting
Alex
week in
Niami
politics.
says peace. Air Cages says I think you're undertrading.
Think
Antenna
I'm
Wild
undertrading?
says thank you, I'll subscribe. Antenna Wild says markets dipped in 2002 during SARS and also in 2009 with the swine flu.
Yeah, they did. I think that tomorrow we should do a little bit more research on that, because I don't know what degree they dropped and how it mattered. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.